You're listening to The Sports Fix.
Portions of The Sports Fix brought to you by Harry Buffalo. Harry Buffalo, join the herd.
Sports Fix listeners, don't wait all day or all week to get in on the fun. The party doesn't stop when we go off the air all week long. The Sports Fix social media sites are your one-stop shop for all things Cleveland sports. Jump over to Facebook.com/TheSportsFix, Facebook.com/TheSportsFix, and become a fan today because we love fans and they create some of the best sports talk in town, Daddy. You'll enjoy talking to your fellow Cleveland sports fans on the Sports Fix fan page. And if Twitter's your thing, well, you know how we do it. Tweet with us at TheSportsFixCLE. It's that simple. Twitter.com/TheSportsFixCLE, baby. Chat live with the crew during all your favorite Cleveland sports events, tickets and contests and trivia and so much more. Get with us today, The Sports Fix on social media, Facebook.com/TheSportsFix. Tweet with us at TheSportsFixCLE. Join The Sports Fix on Facebook and Twitter today.
Hi, I'm Hector Marinero. You're listening to The Sports Fix.
Live in Ohio, it's time to get your fix. The Sports Fix.
There we go, off and running. Welcome in, my friends, to the Sports Fix here. Hump Day edition of the Sports Fix, rocking and rolling across the Sports Fix Radio Network. J-Rock, Jerry Myers, welcoming each and every one of you back in here. And busy edition of the Sports Fix today. Moving some people around. They all kind of conglomerated here to Wednesday, so it's going to be a lot of fun here. I'll tell you, I was actually anticipating, usually on Wednesdays, we're able to take advantage of some openings and some holes in the schedule and get some more extended times to open up the phone lines. I don't think that's going to happen today. I'll open them up, though. I am going to open them up here to start things off and get at least a phone call in before we get rolling. But we've definitely got a full slate today rolling through. John McMullen from the Sports Network. He'll be with us early on. Matter of fact, just about 20, 25 minutes from now, John's going to join us here. He's usually with us on Mondays, and he's going to check in his thoughts, national perspective, his thoughts on Johnny Football, the debut, the Browns and the Bengals. We'll talk about the Panthers, who's going to quarterback them here coming up, looking like Derek Anderson. We'll talk about that. NFL playoffs, things all around the league heating up. And I'll tell you what, whether they're in it or not, the Browns games the next 2 weeks are in the thick of both of those, both for the Panthers and for the Ravens in playoff races. We'll talk about all of that and Johnny Football and more with John McMullen from the Sports Network. Dan Wismar from the Cleveland Fan. He's here as he always is on Wednesdays. We'll talk to him a little bit about, I'm going to get into it here in a moment. Indians, a little bit of a move here yesterday. We'll talk about that. Get Dan Wismar's thoughts on picking up Gavin Floyd. We'll talk about some of the other things going on around the Browns, around the college football world. We said it on Monday. We were going to talk about some of the bowl games coming up, some of the good ones, looking ahead to some of those. Talk a little more about what we mentioned yesterday, Tom Herman and Bo Pelini. Those guys getting their respective opportunities at Houston and YSU. Penguins picking up Pelini, had the press conference there. We'll talk about all of that with Dan Wismar, the Cleveland Fan, here coming up later on in this show. Doug Plagens, the voice of the Lake Erie Monsters. He's with us here today. He's going to talk some Monsters hockey action as well. We have got a ton of things going on already, have calls coming in. Like I said, I'm going to try to at least get one of these here on the air. Let's get rolling while we're talking about a lot of things going. We've got all of this, so much more. We'll preview the Cavaliers getting back at it here tonight. Let's do it. Welcome in Sports Fix. As I said, I'm J-Rock, Jerry Myers, welcoming you in across the Sports Fix Radio Network. Welcome in each and every weekday. Those of you that join us live here at noon, many of you, some of you here perhaps for the first time today. Maybe you're enjoying the show on TuneIn's radio app worldwide. Maybe you're listening on Spreaker and Mixler and their respective places, or perhaps you're enjoying the show live on the sportsfix.net, the one-stop shop for all things Cleveland sports. Hit us up all the time across the various platforms. I'll go through those in just a minute. Thank you as well, everybody who's joining us on Digital Delay 24/7 on iHeartRadio, iTunes, Stitcher Radio, SoundCloud, all of the podcasting platforms. However you feed, subscribe, listen to the show, thank you so much. And as I almost just jumped ahead of myself there to say, be a part of the show. This is not my show. This is your show. This is the Sports Fix. Let's do it. Pick up the phones. Give me a call. I told you I'm going to do the best I can here to get in a few today. 216-539-7535. 216-539-7535. If you can't get to the phones, or hey, if you get to the phones and we're not taking calls, leave your messages. Do not forget. I can't stress that enough. That's why we keep the hotline there, you guys. Use the hotline. Leave your message. We'll replay it here on the show. 216-539-7535. Hit us up on social media. It is the easiest, most direct way to interact with the show live and throughout the rest of the 24 hours a day, all the time. I never sleep. I'm on this thing all the time. Facebook.com/thesportsfix. Tweet with us at thesportsfixcle. Facebook.com/thesportsfix. Tweet with us at the SportsFixCLE. Email us, thesportsfix@AOL.com. I'm going to talk Indians here in a minute. We're going to get going with the show. Charles just reminded me, I want to mention that real quick. Man, I had some fun last night. Went and called Willoughby South and Eastlake North, which is a rivalry game, think high school level, but Bengals, Browns, Steelers, that kind of thing. They're like 5 minutes away from each other, and all the east side. It's like Greece, it's you got one side and the other. It was a packed house though for a high school basketball game, and it was completely delineated. You had one side was all blue and white, and Willoughby South. The other side all the black and the orange, and Eastlake North. So it was a pretty loud, raucous thing, but it was a fun game. I won't bore you with all the details, of high school basketball, but at one point, Eastlake North went up 7. Actually, it was 18 points. I had miscounted it. I said 17 on the air. Went back and looked at the box score. They were down 18 points at their worst point in the game, and came all the way back. You could feel it in the second half. You could totally see what was happening. And end of the game, man, Willoughby South came all the way back. I'll tell you what. I'm the voice of Willoughby's games for the majority of what they broadcast this season. I'll kind of be their primary guy. They're going to be they just crept into the top 25 this week here locally, but they're going to be one of the top teams by the time it's done. They can play some ball, and they can play some defense for sure. But anyways, it was just a great game, man. Watched the team storm back in the second half from down 18 points to win the game by a deuce at the end. Good stuff. And again, that high school environment, football, basketball, whatever, it's just refreshing. It's invigorating, I mean, I know, the average person doesn't go, hey, I'm going to go watch a random high school game, but every once in a while you get out there and do it, and you go, hey, man, that was kind of fun. Anyways, but I had a great game to call last night. Thanks to you guys who listened to it on the it was just internet broadcast last night on wintradio.com. I'm back at it with them on Friday before I have I think I'm off all next week for the holidays. Then I've got a tournament coming up after. I'll tell you guys more about that. No need to go on with that. Hey, let's open the show real quick. I wanted to talk about the Indians a bit yesterday. Matter of fact, we just kind of missed the timing of it with this show because as Jeff Gorman was with us live yesterday, we had just got done going through some of the latest things that had happened with the other teams in the American League Central, and we were talking about, and we specifically mentioned pitching and the type of trade or signing that the Indians may be looking for, and within the hour of us wrapping that up there, we got word that the Indians signed Gavin Floyd, former White Sox starting pitcher. He's been successful over the year. Of course, it's the Indian signing. It's the typical Indian signing. He's coming off of injury issues. The Indians say not only is he not the standard bounce back, as we like to say, that they're looking for, but that he's 100% health-wise good to go. They gave it the resounding seal of approval, which is, it is what it is. But Gavin Floyd, a 500 pitcher traditionally, and of course that's the first thing that I've been blasted with last night by people that are on the signing. I'll tell you what surprised me, not so much just the signing, because we knew that they were looking to get a veteran arm and some veteran innings here to compete for a spot in the rotation. But the Indians made it very clear. Chris Antonetti said yesterday he's not competing for a spot in the rotation. Gavin Floyd is guaranteed a spot in this rotation. I mean, obviously barring any injuries or anything like that. So he's going to come in here as one of the Indians' 4 starters that have a spot guaranteed, which definitely adds to the depth. You've now got Gavin Floyd, Corey Kluber, Carrasco, and Trevor Bauer are being projected out as the 1 through 4 here, at least as the Indians would like it to go, which means now you're going to add Salazar to that group of Tomlin, McAllister, TJ House, those guys that are going to be in the battle for that 5 spot, which really does open up the depth of that spot, assuming that, you know, everything else falls into place as you want it. And I know there's some people saying, well, of course, look at what some of the other teams did. We'll talk about that in a minute. I've got the list here of what everybody's done. But going back to Gavin Floyd, for those of you guys that don't know, exactly 500 in his career, 72 and 72, 4.4 ERA, 208 appearances. He's made 196 starts. Phillies, White Sox, also did a couple of seasons with the Braves, had several double-digit victory seasons. His best was 2008. He won 17 games for the White Sox that year, finished 10th in the American League in innings pitched. His last 2 seasons, as I mentioned, have both been cut short with injury. 2013, he started 5 games for Chicago. Then he had the surgery on his right elbow. Last year, had a fracture of the right elbow that cut his season short. He made 9 starts for the Braves. He had a 2.6 ERA in 54 innings before the right elbow fracture ended his season. Indians say that the fracture is 100% healed. They have absolutely no qualms about that or about the ligament strength, and I think they must, because that's why they were very definitive yesterday when they said that he is going to have a spot in the rotation. They clearly are in the belief that Gavin Floyd is going to be affected. And I'll tell you what, I mean, if he can get back to where he was, and we talk about Mickey Callaway being able to do what he does, I'm not sitting here trying to sell you on Gavin Floyd being the next Cy Young winner, but it could be a decent signing. You know, it's not one that's going to move the needle too much in one direction or another, but he could fill that spot that people were looking to see as far as a veteran arm coming in there and filling a spot in that Indians rotation. It also gives you the loved depth, the word depth that the Indians love to throw out there. And now, as they say, they at least feel that they can come in 8 or 9 deep at the starting rotation here with this. So we'll talk some more about that. As I said, Dan Wismar, a little bit later on in the show, want to get his thoughts on Gavin Floyd coming in. But just a quick rundown, looking at that now, that makes Brandon Moss and Gavin Floyd coming in for the Indians thus far in the last couple of weeks. Been just a rapid fire first few weeks here, well, you know, of the hot stove season. We talked a bit about the Tigers. We know what they've done, picking up Cespedes. They picked up Simon. They sent out Porcello in the Cespedes trade, lost Torrey Hunter, and, of course, Max Scherzer is still blowing in the wind there. The Royals lost Billy Butler, lost Aoki, kind of countered that a bit with Kendrys Morales and Alex Rios. But, you know, a little bit of a lose some, gain some. Shields is still up in the air whether he's going to stay or not. Obviously, the signs and the winds are blowing that Shields probably not back with the Royals there. I don't know that for sure. The White Sox, very, very active. As we've mentioned before, they've had Zach Duke, Adam LaRoche. They picked up Melky Cabrera, Samardzija. They got him in the trade with Oakland. And then the Twins picked up Hunter, as we mentioned, from the Tigers. So kind of the double dip of hurting one and helping the other, and they grabbed Irvin Santana. So everybody in the division has strengthened themselves. They've improved themselves. I don't know who jockeys out where, but that's where the Indians are at. Again, talk to Dan Wismar here in a little bit, see what he thinks about that. But Gavin Floyd not only signed, but he is expected by the Indians to go a long way to helping them here this season. So we'll see about that here. Yeah, I'm going to go to the phone. You know what? I'm going to go to the phones before I go into anything else. Let's do this. Caller, got a caller here on the phone. First caller up. You're live on the Sports Fix. How you doing?
Yeah, good morning, J-Rock.
Hey, what's happening? My man, Bruce, what's up?
Yeah, I got a couple of things on this Gavin Floyd thing.
Mm-hmm.
First off, he's coming off a Tommy John surgery, which doesn't surprise any Indian fan at all.
That's what we do. That's what we do.
We sign every paraplegic out there, actually. But, hey, I mean, now he's got elbow surgery. We signed the guy that's equal to Swisher. Now we signed the guy that's...
We can joke about this, Bruce, but you're a big Indians guy, and you're